Members' motion with no legislative effect. Professor Priscilla LEUNG's motion on developing the Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macao Greater Bay Area GBA into a world-class corporate structuring center. Dr. Kennedy WONG will move an amendment to the motion. This council will proceed to a joint debate on the motion and the amendment. Later, I will first call upon Professor Priscilla LEUNG to speak and move the motion. I will now call upon Dr. Kennedy WONG to speak, but he may not move the amendment at this stage. The joint debate now begins. Members who wish to speak, please press the request to speak button. President, geopolitical tension, 3 years of pandemic, we've been through all these. Quite many enterprises had a difficult time, and they were on the brink of bankruptcy. It is important to learn how to tide over these difficulties. Corporate restructuring means that we need to render assistance to these enterprises. So corporate restructuring means helping enterprises and keeping jobs. This will lead to a win-win situation for all. To develop the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center is the call of the century. This is to help the country to play an important role in the GBA. Evergrande applied for bankruptcy protection in the United States. It attracted a lot of different responses. The US, the UK, Singapore, these are the main world-class corporate restructuring centers. Article 11 of the US relevant legislation in relation to bankruptcy said that it is exactly one of the keys to helping enterprises to stay afloat. Singapore is also involved in a world-class corporate restructuring center to help Singapore to cement its position in international economic and rule of law center. The GBA has a distinctive advantage in relation to corporate restructuring center. It possesses the advantages of 2 systems and 3 jurisdictions. It provides important restructuring services to different areas. We enjoy clear institutional advantages: manufacturing, shipping, INT, financial services. Enterprises in these sectors also received assistance in relation to corporate restructuring. There are good elements to help us to turn the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. We have what Singapore has in relation to soft power. So why do major enterprises choose to go to the US to apply for bankruptcy petitions? Instead of going overseas to apply for bankruptcy petitions, we shouldn't lose out these opportunities to other competitors. We need to attract these enterprises to stay in Hong Kong and the GBA to use these services. We need to set sail together and get a slice of the action. Common law is applicable to Hong Kong. So why don't we fare as well? Why do we lose the competitive edge? To develop the GBA into a corporate restructuring center would benefit different sectors. In the course of corporate restructuring, we need to facilitate system interface and remove barriers in relation to existing rules and legislation. If we can help corporate to restructure, including professional services, negotiation services, then we need to attract different enterprises to come to Hong Kong. And to solve the problem, we need to conduct out-of-court restructuring. Together with Mr. Zhu, a mainland official, we submitted a proposal we need to develop the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. We need to provide assistance to enterprises. We also need to keep jobs. Hong Kong is the only bilingual common law jurisdictions in the country. We are in the best position to provide professional services to help with corporate restructuring. The Guangdong province teamed up with Hong Kong. On the 1st of June last year, NPC deputies were invited to a meeting. In Shanghai, there is already corporate restructuring center. The court in Shanghai can sign a memorandum of understanding to set up a collaboration mechanism. Before navigating the convoluted bankruptcy petitions, assistance will be given to enterprises. The out-of-court debt restructuring mechanism document was issued. Last year, 26 cases were handled, 2 successful, 5 were settled out of court. A lot of positive experience was accumulated. An out-of-court debt restructuring mechanism or center has already been set up. In the year 2000, the administration thought about formulating the company's corporate rescue bill, but then the bill was stillborn because of time constraints. In the year 2020, the administration said that they'd like to restart the formulation of the company's corporate rescue bill. The purpose is to align with the global practice. The aim is to enhance our global competitiveness. That is to allow enterprises to stay afloat and to continue with its operation. The out-of-court restructuring mechanism wasn't yet mentioned. But then there's been no progress since 2021. We rely on different judges who rule on different cases based on precedents. Now we have good governance, we have good policy discussions, so I believe as long as there is a good proposal, then these will be passed. Mr. Li Qiang mentioned in the work report that we need to deepen reforms and to better integrate into the country's development. The GBA is one important stop. Mediation is very important. International Organization for Mediation, IOMED, headquarters will be set up in Hong Kong. We need to draw reference from the successful experience of mediation of the country. We need to enhance our position to devise an out-of-court debt restructuring mechanism so that we can throw a financial lifeline to enterprises and keep jobs at the same time. I believe it is high time the administration hardened the resolve. Then the result will be different this time. We need to give full play to the soft power of Hong Kong and work well with the GBA. Regarding the amendment of Dr. Kennedy Wong, it is actually quite good. Shenzhen is a pilot point. I support Dr. Kennedy Wong's amendment. I move my motion.
I now propose the question to you that Professor Priscilla LEUNG's motion be passed. Dr. Kennedy Wong. President, in principle, I support Professor Priscilla LEUNG's motion on developing the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. The original motion stresses legal proceedings and arbitration. But I think corporate restructuring will involve more mergers and acquisitions and also restructuring assets. To become a world-class corporate restructuring center, we will need strength and influence. We want to be able to bring in businesses from different places, multinationals, for example, for restructuring. Let's look at New York City and London. These are successful global corporate restructuring centers, and there are a few key ingredients to their success. 1, a highly active capital market. 2, professional service clusters. 3, globally adopted legal systems and a well-developed bankruptcy system. 4, credible global corporate rating agencies and also highly transparent information systems. For us at the GBA, we have 2 systems, 3 jurisdictions. Hong Kong is a highly open financial center with a low tax rate. The 9 mainland cities of the GBA are home to INT systems and a strong industrial base. So they have what it takes. They have a strong industrial chain that will attract global businesses. When businesses come here to Hong Kong for restructuring, they can reinvent themselves and strengthen their competitive edge. But we also have to be clear-eyed about how we can take our law, our openness, and our industrial base. How do we bring them together? How do we align rules across the boundary? That remains a challenge. For that, we will also need the staunch support from the central authorities and the Guangdong authorities. So here are my suggestions. First, we need to secure the support from different parties. We have to align the laws of not just Hong Kong with those of Guangdong, but also with our country. And we need standard templates. We also have to put in place mechanisms for enforcing and recognizing cross-boundary bankruptcies. Hong Kong, the Greater Bay Area, and the country, we have different histories. Our systems are different, and there are marked differences in the bankruptcy systems between those of Hong Kong and those of the mainland. And what do we do about the assets after restructuring? Another challenge. To resolve those problems, we will need the support of local governments in the mainland and the central authorities. We will need globally adopted practices as we prepare those templates. And we also need enforcement mechanisms for restructuring and bankruptcies. We need to get those right before we can turn the GBA into a global M&A center. Now, I also proposed a GBA merger and acquisition professional services alliance. We need global rating agencies, corporate restructuring consultancy services. And we also need globally adopted valuation and due diligence systems. We don't have a large talent pool of people who can do all that work. We don't have professional restructuring consultancies or rating agencies. So we need to bring in globally recognized professional services. And that's how we can bring enterprises here for restructuring. To get there, some problems have to be fixed. 1, global corporate restructuring requires professionals who can do their work, not just in the mainland, but also in Hong Kong, in the mainland. So when we have large-scale M&As, let's take a case-by-case basis. Let's allow lawyers who also speak Chinese take part in those M&As. I support the motion. I also urge members to support my amendment.
Undersecretary for Financial Services and the Treasury. President, first of all, I thank Professor Priscilla LEUNG for moving the motion on developing the Greater Bay Area into a world-class corporate restructuring center, and the amendment moved by Dr. Kennedy Wong. In the third session of the 14th National People's Congress held in March, Premier Li Qiang of the State Council mentioned in the government's work report, the chapter on Hong Kong and Macau, that the government supports economic development and improvement of livelihood in these places. He also emphasized that Hong Kong should deepen international exchange and cooperation and better integrate into the national development. Professor LEUNG's motion highlighted Hong Kong's common law system, which aligns with international standards, and proposed leveraging the advantages of one country, two systems to discuss how Hong Kong can contribute to national development with its unique strengths. So it's a good opportunity for us to discuss this. Facing complex international situation, this government values the unique advantages of Hong Kong having the support of the motherland and being connected with the world under one country, two systems, so that we can seize the opportunities brought about by national development and serve as a super connector and super value adder. Hong Kong's status as an international financial center is not only due to its robust financial services industry and innovative thinking, but also well-established legal system and various unique advantages. These factors provide a business-friendly environment and create more opportunities. Hong Kong is the only common law jurisdiction in China, and it is the only global common law jurisdiction that operates in both Chinese and English. This enables us to attract legal and dispute resolution professionals from around the world. This also helps Hong Kong play the role of a super connector and super value adder between the mainland and overseas. The headquarters of the International Organization for Mediation, or IOMED, will be established in Hong Kong this year, making it the first global intergovernmental legal organization dedicated to resolving international disputes through mediation. IOMED can attract parties involved in disputes, mediators, lawyers, and other professionals to come to Hong Kong for mediation on disputes between countries and foreign investors, as well as international commercial disputes. The Hong Kong SAR government has signed multiple agreements with the mainland to establish convenient mutual assistance mechanisms on arbitration between the two places. These include arrangement between the mainland and the Hong Kong SAR on mutual assistance on court-ordered interim measures in aid of arbitral proceedings, and the Second Amendment to the CEPA Agreement on Trade and Services, which supports the expansion of allowing Hong Kong invested enterprises, or Hong Kong IEs, to adopt Hong Kong law and choose Hong Kong as the seat of arbitration in the Greater Bay Area. Now, on aligning systems and judicial assistance mechanisms for civil and commercial matters in the Greater Bay Area, the mutual enforcement of arbitral awards and court judgments, especially in the enforcement of court judgments, currently covers most civil and commercial judgments. Hong Kong has unique advantages and development opportunities in the fields of corporate restructuring and cross-boundary professional services. With its common law system, internationalized judicial system, and highly professional international R&I practitioners, Hong Kong is a preferred location for corporate restructuring. Hong Kong's international R&I practitioners have been effectively making use of mechanisms such as the mechanism in Companies Ordinance Cap 673. In recent years, they have successfully assisted many cross-border groups in achieving debt restructuring through schemes of arrangements. With a deepening of regional integration, our practitioners have successfully assisted more groups in Hong Kong and the mainland to complete corporate restructuring. In recent years, there have been mainland companies listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange that have restructured their debts in Hong Kong through the schemes of arrangement. To further strengthen judicial cooperation between the mainland and Hong Kong, on the 14th of May 2021, the Supreme People's Court and the Hong Kong SL government signed the Record of Meeting, or ROM, on mutual recognition and assistance in bankruptcy or insolvency proceedings between the mainland and the Hong Kong SAR. According to the ROM, as well as the pilot opinions of the Supreme People's Court on bankruptcy procedures, restructuring procedures initiated by liquidators or provisional liquidators and approved under the Companies Ordinance Cap 673 can be recognized and assisted. Designated People's Court in Shanghai, Xiamen, and Shenzhen. The ROM also stipulates that mainland administrators can seek recognition in Hong Kong of restructuring procedures under the PRC's enterprise bankruptcy law based on relevant common law principles in Hong Kong. This cooperation is gradually making progress. The mechanism helps increase the competitiveness of Hong Kong's legal, accounting, and other professionals in handling corporate restructuring and bankruptcy cases involving mainland assets and consolidate Hong Kong's position as a regional corporate restructuring center. As we take forward the above tasks, we also need advice and input from members and various sectors. Once again, I thank Professor Leung for moving today's motion so that we have an opportunity to seek advice from members. I'm going to give another response to all the suggestions and comments in the motion and the amendments. Thank you.
Mr. Holden Chow. President, I support Professor Leung's motion on developing the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. I also support Dr. Kennedy Wong's amendment. First of all, I thank Professor Leung for moving this motion. This gives us an opportunity to discuss corporate restructuring. Now, some context. The Undersecretary just explained some background. Those watching our webcast may be wondering, when we talk about winding up and restructuring, for me, from my experience, from my solicitors firms, we handled such cases. The court procedure is relatively straightforward. We come up with a debt agreement, we come up with a repayment plan. As the Undersecretary said, we go to a court, we get the court to recognize that scheme of arrangement. So that's what we did. We went to a court, we discussed the matters, and then we got the court's approval, and then we've stuck to the scheme of arrangement as we dealt with the restructuring. In the process, we appointed provisional liquidators who took care of the whole business. Now, for our common law system, winding up is a relatively straightforward matter. Now that Professor Leung is moving her motion, we can actually take a deeper look at the matter. So our approach relies heavily on the provisional liquidator or the receiver in winding up and corporate restructuring. But then, in the world, there is an alternative approach. It's the Chapter 11 approach. In the US, their approach is, simply put, you try to let the company that is the subject of the winding up process run as much as possible. Let the existing management remain in control. There are pros and cons to that approach. If we want to turn our motion today into reality, we want to become a corporate restructuring center, we will need a more in-depth discussion. There are merits to our existing common law approach, but maybe we can also consider the Chapter 11 approach. Because in that approach, we rely less on an outside liquidator. We rely more on the existing management. We give that company more time and try to let the company turn things around. Now, we have two different approaches. In the legal sector, discussions have been going on for a long time. At some point in the past, we discussed this, but our discussion went nowhere. No consensus was reached. But since Professor Leung is moving her motion today, and then Dr. Kennedy Wong is moving his amendment, and we may come to those points. So I want to take this opportunity to get the discussion started on this point. Now, from what we have seen, you have the US-style Chapter 11 approach. The focus is to give an opportunity to that business to turn things around. Of course, sometimes the business simply failed in the end. For us in Hong Kong, our approach is straightforward. We go to a court, we get the scheme of arrangement, and then a provisional liquidator takes care of the matter. So should we give an extra alternative to businesses, or how should we proceed? That's something we can have a discussion about today so that we can decide on our way forward. I do support the idea that we want to become a world-class corporate restructuring center that serves the needs of the businesses in the GBA. Now, one more comment. We have an extra edge. Overseas businesses can also opt for winding up in Hong Kong. They just have to prove sufficient connection with Hong Kong. Those overseas firms can also go for winding up here in Hong Kong. And that's where our strength lies with our common law system in global connectivity, as so submit. Mr. Jesse Shang. I thank Professor Leung for his motion on developing the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. I support Dr. Kennedy Wong's amendment as well. The global economy is undergoing drastic changes. Manufacturing bases are shifting. We have AI on the scene. There will be many corporate restructuring cases. Let's keep those business opportunities here. So let's explore how we can turn the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. To do that, let's look at our 5 strengths. 1. Geography. The GBA is at the critical location along the Belt and Road. We link up the mainland market and the world outside. In Hong Kong, we have great transport links. Hong Kong is a great super connector and super value adder. We also have a robust economy in this area. The GBA is home to 9 cities in the mainland, and Macau and Hong Kong. We have a huge GDP. There are many listed companies here. We had the H share, red chip stocks, and also VLE structures. As Mr. Holden Chow said, Hong Kong is accustomed to different ways of doing business. So we have an edge in corporate restructuring. The GBA is home to 2 systems and 3 jurisdictions. And we can turn that to our advantage. So the government should look at ways to pursue corporate restructuring. And we also have the support from our country's policies. Professor Leung brought out the 2 sessions. And we also have the outline development plan of the GBA. All that provides policy support. Now, we also have technology on our side. We usually see firms with an edge in tech acquiring the firms that are not as ahead in technology. So let's look at Hong Kong. We have upstream research, and then in the rest of the GBA, you have the manufacturing. So when we bring everything together, that will bring vitality to the business scene. So to turn the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center, there are a few things the government should do. 1, let's keep improving our business environment. Let's simplify customs clearance. Let's simplify registration, and also let's align laws and regulations. Let's protect intellectual property rights. Let's provide a stable and transparent business environment. Let's also promote innovation technology. Let's create a strong and robust capital market. And then we can meet the financing needs of different businesses. Let's also bring talent together here. We are short of talent in cross-boundary corporate restructuring, so we need education, we need training, we need professionals with experience in cross-boundary M&A. I want to make a declaration. I'm a founding chairman of the Top Talent and Service Association, and we also have to deregulate. We should foster the free flow of data and let different cities shine, and let's all work together to create this corporate restructuring hub. There are different systems in the GBA, and aligning the different rules will come with challenges. So let's take it one step at a time. Let's do it in 3 steps. 1, let's look at and learn from success stories. Let's look at what the New York, what Tokyo, and what London are doing. Let's look at what worked for them. And 2nd, let's look at our local experience. Let's look at the experience within the GBA. We look at our own success stories. Once we learn from the experience, we can do something. And we also have to look at how cross-boundary asset allocation works, and that will require communication between different stakeholders, getting that to work. We raise the profile of the GBA globally and also strengthen the GBA as a place for corporate restructuring. The world is undergoing transformation. The GBA is staring at unprecedented opportunities. We have to keep improving the environment. We have to improve the systems. Let's stay open-minded and take action so that the GBA can become a world-class corporate restructuring center. I so submit. I support the motion and the amendment.
主席，打造粵港澳
Mr. Jimmy Ng, thank you, President. To develop the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center will help enhance the international position of the GBA. I support this motion. This will help with national development. Is corporate restructuring a major business? In the INSO conference, which was held in Wan Chai, a lot of giants in the industry came to Hong Kong, including a high-ranking official from Singapore, Mr. Tang. This is an annual authoritative conference. They chose Hong Kong because of the international position of Hong Kong. One of the focuses is the knock-on effect seen in China. From this, we can see our international friends attach a lot of importance to opportunities in China. Corporate restructuring is more than insolvency. Debt restructuring, share restructuring, manpower restructuring, and so on. They are to help a company to transform. To assist corporate restructuring, not just the legal sector, financial sector as well. The accounting sector is involved as well. Opportunities abound. As mentioned in the motion, the GBA has the advantages of 2 systems and 3 jurisdictions. Countries practicing civil law as well as those practicing common law will also be able to enjoy these services. Hong Kong is one of the top 3 arbitration centers well-liked around the world. The IOMED headquarters will also be set up in Hong Kong. The convention will also be signed in Hong Kong. We have a lot of good opportunities. Therefore, we have excellent prospects. We need to grow larger this industry. We need to grab hold of all the opportunities. Restructuring businesses are focused in the UK and the US, and there is a historical reason for that. As a superconnector, we need to grow larger the industry and grab hold of all the opportunities. We should also foster collaboration with different friends. IOMED headquarters will be set up in Hong Kong. We need to seize the opportunities and develop our brand. We should also tell others why mediation in Hong Kong is good. Before a company goes bust, a company can discuss with creditors. Share restructuring, debt restructuring before a proposal is drawn up. This is actually a good idea as well. We also need to work with mainland cities more closely. In Shenzhen, Qianhai, Zhuhai, there is allowing Hong Kong invested enterprises to adopt Hong Kong law and allowing them to choose for arbitration to be seated in Hong Kong. We need to draw from these experience to develop our corporate restructuring business. We also need to ride on staunch support of our country to enhance the mechanism of corporate restructuring and insolvency. We need to build an alliance to build the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. Internally, we need to compete for businesses. We need to encourage foreign enterprises to use mediation and corporate restructuring services in Hong Kong. We need to deepen the collaboration with other places. I so submit. Thank you, President. Ms. Eunice Yong. I speak in support of Professor Leung's motion on developing the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. I also support the amendment moved by Dr. Kennedy Wong. Corporate restructuring can help enterprises to stay afloat. This is an important measure to help these enterprises. The Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macao GBA does have its own advantages of 2 systems in 3 jurisdictions. It's progressing well in international development. At present, IOMED headquarters will be set up in Hong Kong soon. Regarding the convention on the establishment of IOMED, it will be signed in Hong Kong this year as well. This will enhance our position as a major center for resolving commercial disputes. Take financial services as an example. There will be a lot of M&A, loans, financing demands in Hong Kong. GBA also has a lot of sizable financial institutions. Tens of trillions of businesses are seen in Hong Kong. This will drive a lot of financing demands or needs. In Hong Kong, we're practicing the common law system. Comparing with the US, Singapore, and London, our flexibility pales by comparison. Comparing with the US, the out-of-court debt restructuring mechanism comes with a finite number of options. It's difficult to respond to the ever-changing market situations. Comparing with Singapore, our financial rules and regulations are moving at a snail's pace. SPAC lacks clear regulations and rules. So in the use of such financial tools, there's a lot of uncertainty in relation to commercial arbitration. Despite international position in this regard, comparing with the UK, flexibility and interfacing mechanisms are not as good. So in handling complex arbitration cases, the time taken is very long. It's difficult to solve all disputes in a short period of time. We expect the Hong Kong government can draw reference from other jurisdictions, say the rules and regulations in relation to the out-of-court debt restructuring mechanisms. We need to make our own laws so that we can set up an out-of-court debt restructuring mechanisms in Hong Kong. Dr. Kennedy Wong mentioned that we need to compete for the strong support of the country. To improve the mechanism for recognition and enforcement of cross-border bankruptcies. At present, there are differences in relation to laws in the 3 jurisdictions. If we can formulate a standardized cross-boundary standard and guideline, this will provide clearer guidelines to enterprises. This will also reduce disputes. Apart from that, having consultancy service companies and valuation and due diligence system will also enhance a professional standard. With the valuation and due diligence system, we can provide a more reliable standard for enterprises. We want to attract more enterprises who seek to resolve disputes to Hong Kong. We also want to build a mediation case database of common law commercial disputes. They will be of great reference value. They will also enhance the credibility of Hong Kong as a corporate restructuring center and enhance our appeal. I support the motion and the amendment. Thank you, President. Mr. Robert Lee, the 14th Five-Year Plan positions Hong Kong as an Asia-Pacific dispute resolution center. The policy addressed last year also said that we need to develop Hong Kong into a center for international legal and dispute resolution services in the Asia-Pacific region. I'm going to speak on the importance of attracting enterprises to come to Hong Kong for mergers and acquisitions. The financial services and professional services organizations provide a wide range of services in Hong Kong to help enterprises with M&A as well as restructuring. In the past decade, there was a stable increase in the number of M&As for China enterprises. Last year, we saw over 10,000 such cases, a rise of over 20%. In the case of disputes, as well as different rules and regulations in different markets, enterprises may need to seek external assistance to help them resolve disputes. Hong Kong is in a good position to provide such services. We can provide arbitration services to resolve these disputes for enterprises. We have a robust rule of law in Hong Kong. We also have global perspective. We have the strong support of the country as well, and we are the only common law jurisdiction in the country. We have high-caliber international legal and dispute resolution talents. In 2024 World Competitiveness Report, in international trade and business regulations, we rank the first. From the Center for International Legal and Dispute Resolution Services, we are actually second to none in relation to such services as well as arbitration. To attract enterprises to come to Hong Kong for M&A services, we need to work with different cities in the GBA to provide insolvency-related services. We need to expand the scope from Shenzhen to Zhuhai, to the GBA as well in relation to allowing Hong Kong invested enterprises to adopt Hong Kong law. Branches should also be set up, and Hong Kong should work with Shenzhen together. We need to deepen our collaboration in relation to arbitration services in order to tie in with the Belt and Road Initiative. Quite many enterprises go to ASEAN for M&A. The Hong Kong government should work more closely with the industrial and commercial sector so as to become a dispute resolution center for ASEAN. The purpose is to make more enterprises to choose Hong Kong as the place where disputes are resolved. Hong Kong is a regional IP trading center. Hong Kong should enhance our professional services, say IP protection, commercial, legal, knowledge transfer, consultation, and so on, so that more enterprises will choose to come to Hong Kong to conduct M&A. This will also help Hong Kong to transform and upgrade. I so submit. I support the motion and the amendment. Thank you.
Ms. Chen Yutming. Thank you, President. I speak in support of Professor Leung's motion and the amendment moved by Dr. Kennedy Wong. The Greater Bay Area is the most energetic area in our country as far as the economy is concerned. There are high hopes for the Greater Bay Area to take forward development, and the GDP last year for the Greater Bay Area reached 1.45 trillion renminbi. That's about 1/9 of the national GDP. So there is room to further unleash its potential. Especially focus on cross-boundary M&A and restructuring so as to attract international capital and talents and to create ample opportunities for the business sector. Hong Kong must also grasp these opportunities. On the 12th of March, 1 week ago, Shenzhen set up the first cross-boundary, cross-sectoral platform. It's a service platform to help enterprises engage in M&A. For quality enterprises, financial institutions, these platform helps them with M&A. Now, our neighboring city, that is Shenzhen in the Greater Bay Area, is already taking the first step, so we should also expedite our efforts. We should also work with the Guangdong province and Macau SAR to build GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. Now, the amendment also refers to the setting up of GBA M&A Service Alliance, as well as enhancing collaboration among professionals. All these are good ideas. Hong Kong is the only common law jurisdiction in our country. We have over 1,500 legal practitioners and 10,000 solicitors. We also have global law firms and other reputable legal organizations setting up their presence in Hong Kong, and it forms a very good foundation for us to take forward cross-boundary services. Hong Kong IAC last year took up 352 cases. 76.4% of them were international cases, with the total amount standing at $106 billion. That's about 13.6 billion US dollars. Hong Kong is regarded as a neutral quality and effective seat of arbitration, and we have enjoyed world acclaim on many occasions. The IOMET, the International Organization for Mediation, will be setting up headquarters in Hong Kong. This creates even more favorable conditions for us to be the capital of mediation. Now, leveraging on the unique advantages, we need to keep abreast with the times, and I have the following suggestions. We should promote law tech and its application so as to enhance the efficiency and productivity of the legal services sector in Hong Kong. In the digital era, we should also harness AI and expedite the application of law tech and AI in the legal profession. The Department of Justice in January this year set up an advisory or consultative group on the promotion of law tech. I hope that some concrete action plans can be rolled out so as to enhance the efficiency of the legal profession and enhance customer satisfaction. The other suggestion is to enhance the nurturing of talents. In order to build Hong Kong into a world-class restructuring center, we need to have talents from different disciplines. Apart from legal professionals, we also need professionals with the know-how on IP, as well as those in the arbitration business who are familiar with the laws in the three places in the Greater Bay Area. So the government should step up collaboration with the sector in grooming talents. The Northern Metropolis will provide a university town, and we also have the advantage of being close to Shenzhen. Because of this geographical advantage, we can form a base for nurturing talents on IP, as well as legal professionals who are familiar with the civil law in the PRC, as well as the common law in Hong Kong. Well, I hope that the government will promulgate the university town in Northern Metropolis as quickly, the blueprint as quickly as possible, so as to help groom more professionals in Hong Kong. I so submit, Mr. Yim Kong. Thank you, President. I thank Professor Leung for the original motion for us to discuss the merits of making Hong Kong a world-class corporate restructuring center, the advantages we enjoy, and our potential. With the support of the central authorities, the IOMET headquarters have been established in Hong Kong, and in the policy address, the chief executive also proposes furthering the development of mediation. Now, under one country, two systems, we enjoy different institutional advantages, such as being highly internationalized and marketized, and we have the resources with the backing of the Greater Bay Area so that we can enhance the competitiveness of Hong Kong and Greater Bay Area as a whole. The Greater Bay Area enjoys two systems and three jurisdictions advantage. We also have an international cluster of science and technology. We can build a good platform for corporate restructuring. In the Greater Bay Area, it enjoys the advantage of having very mature industrial and research and development chains. The Hong Kong is also highly aligned with the world. We practice common law in Hong Kong. We also have an AUM to a tune of $30 trillion. So we can provide sufficient funding support for corporate restructuring. There are good opportunities for those in the business. I have the following suggestions. First, we should consider setting up a parent fund for the M&A in the Greater Bay Area, so as to attract capital and high-tech companies to take forward M&As in Hong Kong. There should also be tiered tax breaks for cross-boundary restructuring activities. We should also set up a smart corporate restructuring service platform so that, for example, we can work with pilot free trade zones such as Tianhai, Nansha, and that we can set up a digital platform. There can be a cross-boundary sandbox for the supervision and risk management. We can also provide professional consulting services for family offices in Hong Kong. We also need to enhance the nurturing of talents. We should encourage institutions to run master's courses on corporate restructuring. In Hong Kong, we should also set up a corporate restructuring center for the APAC region in collaboration with accountancy firms and law firms. On a regular basis, international forums should be held so as to make sure that Hong Kong is in the lead in this area. We should also set up a risk prevention mechanism. Together at the government level, a tripartite task force should be set up so as to provide guidance and that we can set standards that can align with the RCEP. There should also be a cross-boundary risk assessment center to prevent risk from emerging and to prevent fraudulent behaviors. President, developing the Greater Bay Area into a world-class corporate restructuring center is a must, and Hong Kong must give play to its unique advantage of being a super connector so that through innovation and upgrade and transformation, we can make the Greater Bay Area a global strategic hub so that we can contribute to the country's development with our unique advantages. I support the motion and the amendment. Mr. Chen Yung. Thank you, President. Thank you, Secretary. I speak in support of Priscilla LEUNG's motion on developing the Greater Bay Area into a world-class corporate restructuring center, as well as Dr. Kennedy Wong's amendment. Well, I think that it's common knowledge that the Greater Bay Area is a major national strategy personally devised by President Xi. Hong Kong must grasp the valuable opportunities so as to generate greater value and promote economic development. In fact, in the government report of Premier Li Qiang this year, there is also special mentioning of the development of Greater Bay Area. One of the highlights is about Corporate Restructuring Center. Now, I think as the Chief Executive John Lee said, Hong Kong is a contributor to resolving international commercial disputes. Hong Kong is also one of the top 3 most preferred seats for arbitration worldwide. So these are our strengths. We have 1 country, 2 systems, and 3 jurisdictions. So specifically, I agree with Dr. Kennedy Wong that we should harmonize the relevant laws of the 3 places to provide greater protection to the parties. At the same time, I believe that we should consolidate resources and promote international cooperation. These 3 prongs should go hand in hand. And I'd also like to talk about setting up mechanisms for cross-border restructuring. We need to have harmonization of laws of the 3 places. We also should allow the adoption of laws that are familiar to the enterprises in a particular place. For example, we have some 600 lawyers in Hong Kong who have been able to get a practice certificate in the country. And we also nowadays allow accountants in Hong Kong to directly participate in the restructuring of mainland enterprises. In terms of capital flow, we should also speed up restructuring for the flow of capital, and that other deposits and other products can also be utilized to promote liquidity. Now, the other suggestion is about the establishment of a restructuring service ecosystem, and that means we should upgrade the financial infrastructures, and that we can have a platform for the whole of the Greater Bay Area. In terms of the disclosure mechanism for listing companies, I need to declare that I'm also an executive director of a listed company. So we can set up a fund for the Greater Bay Area. We can also make reference to the Temasek model, so that we can focus on strategic areas such as new energy, new materials, etc. And we also need to consolidate the efforts. We have the big four accounting firms. They can provide around-the-clock cross-border restructuring services with AI technology. They can also assess the risk of the C&I sectors and businesses in the three places. We can also restructure industrial chains, such as cross-boundary bond houses, and that also includes prevention of risks arising from geopolitics, so as to ensure that the national interest and Hong Kong's overall interest can be safeguarded. And I hope that international summits for restructuring can be held in the Greater Bay Area, as well as firewall mechanisms and other innovative tools. What's important is that we need to enhance efficiency and speed so that the blueprint can be translated into action. And that really relies on a joint effort by the government as well as the business sector. Now we have pilot areas, and in 2024, 25, in 2026 or 28, 30, we can fully realize the initiative.
Mr. Rincon, I thank Professor Priscilla LEUNG for his motion and also Dr. Kennedy WONG for his amendment. Professor LEUNG's motion is about getting professionals with a global vision from Hong Kong, Macau, and Guangdong to come together, work together, and we make the most of our system of one country, two systems, and also our common law system. What Professor LEUNG envisions is something that we can implement, and this is very profound. So the point is, how do we get overseas businesses and large corporations to come here for corporate restructuring? The restructuring is an agreement between a business and its shareholders or creditors. Normally, a court does not get involved. Restructuring is not winding up. In Hong Kong, we don't have many rules or a set of frameworks on restructuring. Different places try to become corporate restructuring centers, but that is no easy task because of a few things. One, positioning. Many jurisdictions struggle with positioning. Should the restructuring rules favor the creditors or debtors? If you favor the creditors or the debtors, the creditors will shun those places. So you need to strike a balance. And you have to do that with caution. Second, the choice of law. Firms in restructuring take out loans. Lenders usually require the adoption of either English law or US law. Shifting the choice of law does not rest with the borrower, but rather with the lenders. You need quality bankruptcy laws and a robust legal system, but that is not enough. Examples from around the world show a corporate restructuring center needs experience in complex corporate restructuring so that you can train such talent, and then you can give enough confidence to not just the companies but also to the lenders and investors. This is not to say Hong Kong or the GBA does not have what it takes. For the GBA as a whole, we need the hardware and the software. Getting those in place will mean we have what it takes to get businesses to come here as a place for corporate restructuring. So for winding up and restructuring, let's review our legal framework. Let's look at our existing laws. Do our existing laws suffice for creating this corporate rescue culture? Of course, we should also protect creditors. Our winding up rules are mainly based on the company's ordinance. The recent years have also seen cases of litigation and arbitration on this front, so the government can set up task forces. Let's look at our cases to see where we can break new ground. The International Organization for Mediation will set up its headquarters in Hong Kong. With our robust legal system, Hong Kong can play a greater role in corporate restructuring. The hardware is not the hard part. What matters more is we have to make good use of the law and we turn it into a strategy. I so submit. Dr. Lo Kwok. President, I thank Professor Priscilla LEUNG for his motion and Dr. Kennedy WONG for his amendment. Corporate restructuring means restructuring a company's assets, equity, and debt. And this is to respond to changes in the market for the corporation's better development. Our country has been supporting mergers and acquisitions in different industries. That's to foster upgrading and transformation and achieve high-quality development. Premier Li Qiang has this to say in his work report, and that is we need comprehensive reforms, including those in corporate M&As. That shows there is huge potential in the M&A landscape. Here you get into complex rules, laws, civil laws, commercial laws, and also dispute resolution services. Under one country, two systems, Hong Kong can play its role as a super connector and super value adder. We are among the most competitive economies. The 2024 World Competitiveness Report ranked Hong Kong the 5th place. And in terms of commercial rules, laws, we ranked first. In tax investment, we were also among the top 5 globally. Hong Kong is the only common law jurisdiction of our country. Arbitral awards in Hong Kong are enforceable in the 172 countries covered by the New York Convention. And Hong Kong has been among the top 5 most preferred arbitral seats. IOMET headquarters will be set up in Hong Kong. We have the 14th five-year plan and also the outline development plan for the GBA. In those documents, Hong Kong also has the strategic position as a center for regional dispute resolution services. So we should indeed make good use of our edge in finance and law. Let's get more companies to come here for corporate restructuring. Let's work with the mainland so that we turn the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. the SCR government should promote Hong Kong's unique strengths under one country, two systems. And also, let's tell people about our professional capacity in corporate restructuring. We have been expanding our ties with the countries in ASEAN and the Belt and Road countries, so we need targeted measures to attract large corporations to come here for M&A and restructuring. Let's also bring in those professional service firms and talent to strengthen the edge of our capacity. In this front, we will need to build up experience, and we should also align the rules in Hong Kong, Macau, and the mainland. Now, the second amendment agreement to CEPA, which was signed some time ago, covered new measures to expand the measures of allowing Hong Kong invested firms to pick Hong Kong law or adopt Hong Kong as the seat for arbitration, meaning those businesses can adopt Hong Kong law for their contracts or pursue arbitration in Hong Kong. That means Hong Kong can play a role in dispute resolution services. Our government should create cooperation mechanisms in legal matters so that we lay the foundation, the institutional foundation for Hong Kong to become a world-class corporate restructuring center. Let's also commit resources to training talent. In November 2024, we set up the Hong Kong International Legal Talent Academy. So in the future, let's work with the legal organizations from ASEAN countries and Belt and Road countries so that we train out more people who are well-versed not just in common law but also in civil law. Let's expand our talent pool of people well-versed in international law, and let's also turn Hong Kong into a hub for international legal education and exchange. I so submit and support the motion. Mr. Martin Liao. Corporate restructuring is for businesses that are struggling but have the potential to turn things around. That's something that can bring a business back to life so that this business can repay its debt. Now, given changes in the global landscape, industry experts expect that in the next 2 years, corporate restructuring will simply speed up. In the outline development plan of the GBA, we know that to make us more competitive, capacity in bankruptcy and corporate restructuring is one parameter that the World Bank measures the competitiveness of a place. The GBA is home to 2 systems and 3 jurisdictions. Our common law system is aligned with global practice. Hong Kong is among the top 3 most preferred arbitration seats. IOMED's headquarters will be established in Hong Kong. Turning the GBA into a corporate restructuring center will mean that struggling companies will have options when they need restructuring. Having such a system in place will mean we can support businesses, we can support jobs, and that will foster the development of relevant industries. We will be able to bring in talent, technology, and capital. Some reports point out that the largest challenge in corporate restructuring is in regulation, because regulation is often about winding up a business rather than restructuring. Currently, corporate restructuring mostly takes place in the US, the UK, and Singapore. That's because in the laws of those places, there are corporate rescue procedures. Take Chapter 11 of the US Bankruptcy Code or the UK's Companies Act, Section 62A. In Singapore, they're trying to be APAC's corporate restructuring center. In 2018, they enacted their Bankruptcy Restructuring and Winding Up Act, and that enhanced Singapore's business environment. In Hong Kong, companies in financial distress do have options, but we lack a formal corporate restructuring framework. In 2020, the panel on financial affairs heard about a corporate rescue bill. Let's act on that. Back in 1996, the Law Reform Commission proposed the corporate rescue procedure. Let's turn that into reality. The GBA has entered a new phase of development, turning the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. We require that we leverage the strengths of the two systems. We have to align the rules and laws. Our country's own enterprise bankruptcy law was promulgated in 2016, but we don't have the framework on cross-boundary bankruptcy proceedings, and that's holding things back. I support the direction of Dr. Kennedy Wong's amendment. Let's secure the central authority support for alignment in cross-boundary insolvency proceedings. Let's pilot the practice. We need templates for cross-boundary insolvency agreements, and then we should also work on cross-boundary recognition and enforcement mechanisms. Let's also foster exchange and cooperation of bankruptcy professionals. Let's create a talent pool so that we scale up and beef up our corporate restructuring industry. I support the motion and the amendment. I so submit.
Mr. Peter Shill. Thank you, President. I thank Professor Priscilla LEUNG for moving the motion on developing the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. Hong Kong needs to take part in it. While members of the public may find it difficult to understand what this is when they watch the debate online. Say an ordinary resident earns 80,000 to 100,000 with a stable job in Hong Kong, but owing to loans or mortgages in a short period of time, they may not be able to pay off the debt. And if bankruptcy petition is filed, they may lose their jobs. These people will have to go through the procedures of bankruptcy so that their beneficiaries will get the assets. This will not result in a win-win situation. In the context of corporates or when the asset allocation is recalculated, probably that person will be able to pay off some of his or her debt. And I believe this analogy will make it more understandable to members of the public. So let's switch back to the corporate example. In Beijing, we had the 2 sessions. I read the work report. In the mainland, in order to make efficient use of market resources, enterprises are being helped with restructuring. Hundreds of enterprises have been helped. A court in Beijing worked on a case. $87.7 billion were involved in one of the cases. In the end, $26.9 billion could be obtained. This allowed the enterprises to continue with its operation. For a mega enterprise, when it couldn't repay the debt and had to go bust, the enterprise would not be able to pay off the debt to many of other companies, and this will result in knock-on effect. In Jiangsu, in a law court restructuring center was advocated. Within 1 year, a total of 338 cases were handled in relation to mediation, out-of-court mediation, restructuring, and so on, standing at 16.9%. $3.3 billion were involved. In the GBA, if we could become a corporate restructuring center for local enterprises, this is another opportunity for them to receive assistance. For mainland enterprises or for overseas enterprises, if they have entities related to them in the mainland or in Hong Kong, it's not that easy for them to go through restructuring. The rules and regulations in China may differ from those in Hong Kong and those in overseas jurisdictions. If these companies have other entities in other regions, say in Hong Kong, it will be more difficult for them to handle these cases. And if we could have a corporate restructuring center, then it will be easier for them to handle these cases. We practice common law in Hong Kong. Lawyers, accountants, we have a lot of talents in the GBA. This will give rise to business opportunities. For mediation to take place in Hong Kong, I believe this will present another business opportunity for investors in Hong Kong. You may be able to get some real bargains in the market. So how can we seize these opportunities? I believe this is the thrust of the motion moved by Professor Priscilla LEUNG. If we have more business opportunities, then I support this motion. Thank you. Mr. Lee Chen-kang. Geopolitical landscape is complex. Many policies in the West are changing. There's a lot of chop and change, which causes uncertainties and pressure on the cash flow. With lack of cash flow, they are in financial distress and they are forced to go bust. I thank Professor LEUNG for moving this motion to turn the GBA into a world-class corporate restructuring center. Corporate restructuring helps unleash the value of some enterprises to tie them over so that they can make a comeback after distress. The world is changing. According to the UN, the figures reached 1.2 trillion US dollars. We are involved in 26% of the corporate restructuring businesses. I'd like to share with you the strengths we have. First of all, we are well known in our rule of law. We're well known for it. We have one country, two systems, and the IOMED headquarters will also be set up in Hong Kong. For 24 years in a row, we rank high or the first in relation to rule of law and judicial independence. This is very important. In 2021, an insurance company went listed using $36.1 billion, involving 13 jurisdictions of insurance brokers in accordance with CAP 633 Companies Ordinance. Cross-boundary insurance policies were adjudicated to be valid. 98.7% of the debtors passed it, 22% higher. Restructuring costs will be lowered as well. We have a low tax regime. $4.7 trillion for the stock market and the private, AUM, it's $1.3 trillion for private funds. For some countries in the West, the consumption power is weakened. We are a core city in the GBA. A total of 65 million plus $70 billion USD. There are a lot of new tools, SPAC, as well as OFC. These financial regulatory sandboxes have been tested and they are fit for restructuring. Risk control. Well, we have common law and arbitration mechanisms which can lower the risk of corporate restructuring. We also have a low tax regime. Tax regime will also lower the corporate restructuring cost. We have the strong support of the motherland, and our market potential is vast. With RCEP, Hong Kong is a super connector. We are also a designer of the corporate restructuring center. Any corporate restructuring in the Asia-Pacific region, we see its cost increasing by 30% or so. I support Professor Leung's motion as well as other amendments. Thank you. Does any other member wish to speak? Professor Priscilla Leung, you may now speak on the amendment. Thank you, President. First of all, I thank Dr. Kennedy Wong for his amendment. It enriches the contents of my original motion. There are two amendments in gist. One, seeking the central authority support to promote the harmonization of the relevant laws of the three places on corporate restructuring and bankruptcy. I believe the legal sector agrees to this general direction, especially in relation to the civil and commercial matters. We want to enable mutual recognition in this regard. In 2021, on the 11th and the 14th of May, the Supreme People's Court announced the opinion on taking forward a pilot measure in relation to the recognition of and assistance to insolvency proceedings in the Hong Kong SAR. Shanghai, Xiamen, and Shenzhen are the pilot areas. Corporate winding up attracts a lot of concern in China, not least major enterprises or sizable enterprises. That's why they tread very cautiously. Civil and commercial matters have been in discussion for a long time. Finally, the green light was given. Well, I believe in the mainland, they adopt the approach that they roll out initiatives as soon as they are ready. The progress has been faring quite well. But I believe the major direction is to throw a financial lifeline to enterprises. For small enterprises, the administration wants to help them keep jobs. So the major direction is to encourage out-of-court restructuring. When the court receives such applications, say, as I said, Shanghai, Shenzhen, when a consensus is reached, they provide a systematic platform. The global economic landscape is changing. Some people want to buy the dips. Some people want to make a comeback with corporate restructuring. I agree that in relation to professional talents, they are lacking in Hong Kong. Legal training, accounting, financial services, all these are related sectors. And we will be able to develop a sizable brand if we prepare all these sectors well. Cash flow shows your value, and the extent of INT also matters. We are in the middle of a reform. We also need to incorporate this technology into the scheme of things. Mr. Hon Chow mentioned a main point. The government introduced a few legislative amendments. Now we have good governance. This need is identified in the GBA. We need to work together with them and set sail together with them. They do have funds, and they know that we have the potential, and we have a lot of professional talents who are well experienced in serving foreign enterprises. I understand from the perspective of legislation, Chapter 11 in the US, that is the bankruptcy code, we lack legal tools, as the Secretary for Justice said. Debtors don't have a lot of breathing space. That's why they have to resort to bankruptcy in the end. After the motion debate today, especially the direction mentioned by Dr. Kennedy Wong, I agree fully with the second point in his amendment. I hope members will support my motion and the amendment, and I hope that the administration won't give up on the company's corporate rescue bill. Thank you. I so submit.
Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury. President, I thank Professor Priscilla LEUNG for moving the motion, Dr. Kennedy Wong for his amendment, as well as 13 other members who have spoken on the motion developing the Greater Bay Area into a world-class corporate restructuring center. I thank them for their invaluable input and suggestions. Over the years, Hong Kong has played an active role in the country's opening up and reform, relying on unique institutional advantages of one country, two systems, and leveraging the benefits of the country's national reform and opening up, and the fruit of economic development. We've developed into an international financial center while contributing to our country's economy. As I mentioned in my opening remarks, under one country, two systems, Hong Kong is the only common law jurisdiction within the country and the only global common law jurisdiction that operates in both Chinese and English. It has a well-established legal system that can provide top-notch legal and dispute resolution services. Hong Kong's legal and dispute resolution professionals are biliterate and trilingual. They have global perspectives and they are capable of handling cross-boundary legal matters. They can fully understand the needs of domestic enterprises and foreign investors. They provide quality and diverse legal and dispute resolution services, and this helps Hong Kong play the role of a super connector and super value adder between the mainland and overseas. The Department of Justice will strengthen the rule of law, actively integrate into our country's development. An all-out effort will be made to promote Hong Kong's legal and dispute resolution services both domestically and internationally, and will tell the good story of Hong Kong and consolidate Hong Kong's position as a center for international legal and dispute resolution service in the APAC region. On corporate restructuring, Hong Kong's international corporate restructuring professionals have effectively made use of the restructuring mechanisms under the company's ordinance through schemes of arrangements. The ROM signed by the Supreme People's Court and the Hong Kong SAR government on May 14, 2021, along with the pilot arrangements, have strengthened the implementation of cross-boundary corporate restructuring. The schemes of arrangements approved by the Hong Kong courts can be recognized and enforced through designated intermediate people's courts in Shanghai, Xiamen, and Shenzhen. Correspondingly, mainland bankruptcy administrators can also apply for judicial recognition in Hong Kong courts based on common law principles for restructuring procedures under the enterprise bankruptcy law in the People's Republic of China. According to our record, the Hong Kong courts have recognized 2 restructuring cases under the enterprise bankruptcy law based on common law principles. Regarding corporate restructuring in the Greater Bay Area, the 2 regions have established a pilot mechanism for mutual recognition and assistance in bankruptcy proceedings. For the first time, Hong Kong liquidators can perform the duties in the mainland, such as investigating in the debtors the financial situation, representing the debtor in litigation and arbitration. The establishment of a system for mutual recognition of liquidating procedures and mutual assistance can prevent the problem of debtors' assets not being fully recovered due to a lack of mechanisms. It strengthens the protection and interests of creditors and debtors. It also encourages stakeholders to widely adopt restructuring procedures. Enterprises successfully completing restructuring procedures will have a good prospect of restoring their operating capabilities, which can also enhance protection of jobs and people's livelihoods. We will continue to monitor the implementation of the mutual assistance mechanisms. Our record shows that as of mid-March 2025, Hong Kong courts have issued 8 letters of request to pilot city courts based on the record of meeting, of which 3 have been recognized. The mainland courts have issued 5 letters of request to the Hong Kong courts, of which one was issued by one of the 9 cities in the Greater Bay Area. They have all been recognized. Regarding the amendment proposed by Dr. Kennedy Wong, which suggests that the government should seek central support to promote coordination of laws on corporate restructuring and bankruptcy and formulate the standardized agreement templates and improve the recognition mechanism. We will listen to the views of the sector and the stakeholders of the 2 places. We'll also closely maintain communication with various stakeholders. We will fully consider different proposals with an open mind. Dr. Kennedy Wong also proposes the establishment of the Greater Bay Area M&A Professional Service Alliance, which integrates relevant resources from the 3 places and introduce international rating agencies and consulting firms to establish a valuation and due diligence systems that meet global standards. This aligns with our policy direction. The Department of Justice will promote the establishment of a specific platform organization for lawyers in the Greater Bay Area to facilitate professional exchanges and training. The Department of Justice, together with the Guangdong Provincial Department of Justice and Macau Legal Affairs Bureau, is actively promoting a list of arbitrators for the Greater Bay Area. In this regard, the Greater Bay Area Joint Conference has already approved the work guidelines for the list of arbitrators in the Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macao Greater Bay Area. The Department of Justice will take forward the establishment of the Greater Bay Area Information or Legal Information Platform to consolidate information on legal and dispute resolution services within the Greater Bay Area. The accounting profession also plays a pivotal role in promoting high-quality development of professional services in the Greater Bay Area. We've been actively promoting the coordinated development of the profession between the mainland and Hong Kong. Under the CEPA framework, especially the service trade agreement, the mainland and Hong Kong have mutual recognition arrangements for accounting professional examinations. Hong Kong accountants serving as partners in partnership accounting firms in the mainland are now given equal treatment as national citizens. The updated talent list, effective from March 2025, has included the accounting industry, which will further promote the flow of accounting talents in the Greater Bay Area. Also, we support joint projects initiated by the accounting industries of the 3 places, including the signing of the Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macao Accounting Industry Development Strategic Agreement 2024 by the Guangdong Institute of Certified Public Accountants, Hong Kong Institute of Certified Public Accountants or HKICPA, and the Union of Associations of Professional Accountants of Macau in December 2024. We also sponsor Hong Kong accounting talents to participate in the Greater Bay Area Registered Accountant Youth Talent Training Program organized by the Guangdong Institute and jointly participated by the Hong Kong and Macau organizations. In February 2025, the Hong Kong ICPA published a list of Hong Kong accounting firms dedicated to helping mainland enterprises go global, covering those familiar with overseas market and relevant regulations. The list currently includes over 70 firms and will be continuously updated. Enterprises may connect with the firms according to their needs and accelerate their expansion plans overseas. This is also an excellent opportunity for our accounting sector to fully utilize its diverse services, providing financial, tax, risk management, and green sustainability support to mainland enterprises while expanding the development path of the industry in new areas beyond traditional accounting and auditing, thereby contributing to the construction of a strong financial nation. In addition to providing invaluable insights on legal professionals and mediation, the motion also highlights the importance of attracting capital and talent. As a key pillar of Hong Kong's economy, the financial services sector accounts for nearly a quarter of our GDP and is a critical area of Hong Kong's integration into the country's development. Over the years, we have continuously attracted international companies, talents, and fund management firms to come to Hong Kong. It demonstrates our appeal to international capital and talent. In terms of corporate financing, Hong Kong had over 70 companies listed in 2024, with an IPO fundraising amount exceeding 87 billion Hong Kong dollars. We ranked the 4th around the world. As at the end of February, the Hong Kong Exchange is processing over 100 listing applications. It shows increased confidence in Hong Kong among these companies. To align with the national development of new quality productive forces and assist specialist tech and biotech companies in raising funds in Hong Kong, the Hong Kong X is actively preparing to launch the Technology Enterprises Channel, or TEC, to facilitate the listing company applications. To support the coordinated development of Shenzhen and Hong Kong in the fields of risk and venture capital investment, promote technological innovation cooperation between the two cities. In September 2022, the 18 measures to support the coordinated development of Shanghai, Shenzhen, Hong Kong private equity and venture capital was promulgated. It provides extensive facilitation and preferential policies for Hong Kong's private equity industry. It also promotes coordination and exchange of talent between the two cities. Furthermore, the government will continue to promote the establishment of corporate treasury centers by mainland enterprises in Hong Kong. They can leverage our extensive corporate and banking networks, deep and broad capital markets, advanced financial services and facilities to expand international business and markets. In fact, since 2016, we have been providing tax incentives to qualified corporate treasury centers, strengthening Hong Kong's position as a major platform for mainland enterprises to go global under the Belt and Road initiatives, and for multinational corporations to manage and move funds for the businesses in the mainland and the region. In addition to the efforts mentioned to attract capital, we'll continue to leverage the unique advantage of having the motherland support and being connected to the world, so as to build Hong Kong into an ideal platform to bring in investment and help enterprises go global. We'll also intensify efforts to attract enterprises from the mainland and from around the world, including those engaged in biotech, fintech, AI, data science, advanced manufacturing, new energy, etc., to establish the headquarters or branch operations in Hong Kong. They can utilize Hong Kong's professional services to manage their multinational businesses, expand overseas markets, and raise international capital, and while serving an important bridge for overseas enterprises to enter the mainland market. We submitted a bill to LEUNG to introduce a widely applicable system that allows companies of different regions, types, and scales to redomicile to Hong Kong through a simple process, thereby addressing market demand. Non-Hong Kong incorporated companies that successfully register under this system can retain their legal entity status, allowing the business operations to continue while avoiding complex and costly judicial procedures. Currently, there is no redomiciliation system. Non-Hong Kong incorporated companies need to liquidate the company and establish a new one in Hong Kong, or through a court-approved arrangement plan, convert the company into a wholly owned subsidiary of a Hong Kong incorporated company. These are complex procedures involving high costs, and the relevant companies cannot retain their legal entity status, assets, IP, contracts, and company history. The redomiciliation mechanism will help increase the demand for professional services in Hong Kong, such as auditing, accounting, and legal services. It can also attract enterprises established overseas to become new development forces in our market, so as to enhance the competitiveness of our market and further consolidate our position as an international business and financial center. In terms of talent, the Labour and Welfare Bureau published a new talent list in February this year, which includes new financial services professions, accounting professionals, Islamic finance professionals, and senior commodity trading professionals. This will help Hong Kong attract more financial talents. In the legal profession, the position of legal engineer has also been added. Also, we're committed to building a financial talent pool through other measures, with a comprehensive strategy that not only supports the career development of young students, but also help in-service professionals seize new market opportunities. In recent years, the government has introduced multiple measures to attract and nurture talents, including industry-specific practical knowledge courses, internship opportunities, and funding for university students and graduates, offering professional training courses and funding for in-service practitioners, sponsoring exchange activities. These measures cover banking, asset and wealth management, insurance, green and sustainable finance, fintech, and accounting. The FSTB once conducted extensive consultation on statutory corporate rescue procedures. We had numerous rounds of in-depth discussions with stakeholders. However, no consensus was reached. Although the legislative proposal had the support of the accounting sector and the legal profession, major stakeholders have major reservations. The labor sector is concerned that the corporate rescue procedures may be abused, in the sense that company assets can be transferred and that employees will not be able to get compensation in time in the event of insolvency. There are also views that there may be proposals in favor of professional liquidators in protecting enterprises, and there will not be sufficient protection for employees. SMEs are concerned about the high costs since professionals will be involved, and only those with means will adopt the rescue procedures. For unsecured creditors, they have low bargaining powers and they may be forced to accept the proposals in the corporate rescue procedures. They may not benefit in the process. And there is a need to spend more time to discuss the legislative proposals and the impact on individual sectors. Some sectors, in fact, have strong opposition or reservations about the proposal. At the moment, the government's job is to focus on striving for economic development and promoting high-quality development of the financial market, so to create a more favorable environment for enterprises. Mr. President, I once again thank members for their invaluable views in today's debate, so that the government can consolidate these views and set clear goals and objectives for future development. This is the last year of the 14th five-year plan. It also marks the commencement of the planning for the 15th five-year plan. It is a very important year in terms of the implementation of one country, two systems. We will work towards the national economic development direction and strategies, and under the leadership of the Chief Executive, we will safeguard national financial security and promote Hong Kong. We firmly believe that with the support of the central government, we can continue to give play to the advantages and play our role as a hub for wealth and talent, contributing to our country's prosperity and stability.
I now call upon Dr. Kennedy Wong to move an amendment. President, I move my amendment. I propose a question to you that Kennedy Wong's amendment be passed, and I'll put the question to you as stated. With those in favor, please raise their hands. Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment passed. Professor Priscilla LEUNG, you still have 1 minute, 2 seconds to reply, then the debate will come to a close. Professor Priscilla LEUNG. Thank you, President. The world is changing. The global economy is in a slum. AI will also force a lot of industries to be acquired or transformed. If they can stay afloat, this will be beneficial to different sectors as well as laborers. I'd like to see an out-of-court restructuring mechanism. If this is successful, they won't have to go through the complex legal proceedings or procedures. The Legislative Council today is different from that in the past. Therefore, we can put our heads together and discuss in the era of AI how enterprises can survive and grow larger through restructuring. This will be a better direction. Thank you. I hope members will support my motion. And I'll put the question to you that Professor Priscilla LEUNG's motion is amended by Dr. Kennedy Wong be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of the members present. I declare the motion as amended passed. And I will adjourn the Council until the 11 a.m. on the 26th of March 2025.